You've made several inaccurate statements over the past month as you have tried to defend against multiple Republican admissions that the Select Committee has been wasting millions of tax dollars to damage Secretary Clinton's bid for president. On Sunday, you made another inaccurate statement during your appearance on Face the Nation, and it's being taken up here, and this is the relevance. Here's what you said, and I quote, "There are other folks who may have equities in her emails, and there may be other entities who are evaluating her emails. But my interest in them is solely making sure that I get everything I'm entitled to so that I can do my job. The rest of it, classification, Clinton Foundation, you name it, I have zero interest in it, which is why you haven't seen me send a subpoena related to it or interview a single person other than Brian Pagliano, because I need to know that the record is complete." And I'm going back to the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I'm waiting.
Chairman, let me finish.
I'm waiting on you. I've been very patient.
Coming. Just wait.
I'm waiting on the inaccurate statement.
I'm getting there. Mr. Chairman.
Well, we got to take a break.
Statement was, well, it's not going to take long. You took up 4 minutes over, so let me have 3.
I've let everybody go over, including you, Mr. Cummings.
Thank you very much. You issued a subpoena to Sidney Blumenthal on May 19th, 2015, compelling him to appear for a deposition on June 16, 2015. You issued this subpoena unilaterally without giving the Select Committee members the opportunity to debate or vote on it. You sent 2 armed marshals to serve the subpoena on Mrs. Blumenthal's wife at their home without having ever sent him a request to participate voluntarily, which he would have done. Then, Mr. Chairman, you personally attended Mr. Blumenthal's deposition. You personally asked him about the Clinton Foundation, and you personally directed your staff to ask questions about the Clinton Foundation, which they did more than 50 times. Now, these facts directly contradict the statements you made on national television this last Sunday.
No, sir. With all due respect, they do not. We just heard email after email after email about Libya and Benghazi that Sidney Blumenthal sent to the Secretary of State. I don't care if he sent it by Morse code, carrier pigeon, smoke signals. The fact that he happened to send it by email is irrelevant. What is relevant is that he was sending information to the Secretary of State. That is what's relevant. Now, with respect to the subpoena, if he'd bothered to answer the telephone calls of our committee, he wouldn't have needed a subpoena.
Would the gentleman yield?
I'll be happy to, but you need to make sure the entire record is correct, Mr. Cummings.
And that's exactly what I want to do.
Well, then go ahead.
I'm about to tell you. I move that we put into the record the entire transcript of Sidney Blumenthal. We're going to release the emails. Let's do the transcript. That way the world can see it.
Well, we didn't.
The motion has been seconded.
Well, we're not going to take that up at a hearing. We'll take that up in a business meeting.
I've consulted with the parliamentarian, and they have informed us that we have a right to a recorded vote on that motion. We want, you ask for the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Well, that's what we want to have. Let the world see it.
Why is it that you only want Mr. Blumenthal's transcript released? Why don't you want the survivors? The survivors, even their names?
Let me
want
tell you
that?
something. No,
you want that released?
Let me tell you something. Right now,
the only one you've asked for is Sidney Blumenthal. That's the only one you've asked for. That and Ms. Mills.
Cheryl Mills.
That's not true.
No, that's 2 out of 54. Now, if you want to ask for some fact witnesses,
we asked for a recorded vote on the Blumenthal. You said from the beginning we want the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Why don't we just put the entire transcript out there and let the world see it? What do you have to hide?
These are the only emails that you have released. And the fairness to Mr. Blumenthal and to the American people, in the interest of a complete record, if you're going to release his emails, release his transcript where he has a chance to give the context of those emails.
Well, you keep referring to Blumenthal emails. I would hasten to remind both of you, the only reason we have Blumenthal emails is because he emailed the Secretary of State. Those are her emails. That's why they were released. They're not Blumenthal's emails, and she wanted all of her emails released. She's been saying since March, I want the entire world to see my emails. Well, Sidney Blumenthal's emails are part of that. So here's what I'll do. I'll be happy to talk to the parliamentarian, because the parliamentarian told me that your motion actually would not be in order for a hearing. But at the latest, we'll take a vote. The first week we are back, after this week, we'll have a business meeting. We can take up Mr. Blumenthal's transcript. We can take up whatever other transcripts you want. And while we're there, we can also take up the 20-some-odd outstanding discovery requests that we have to different executive branch entities. Why don't we just take all of it up then?
Mr. Chairman, the allegations that have been made against him are refuted by his own testimony. In the interest of not having...
That's your opinion, Adam.
Well, if you disagree, then release the transcripts.
What allegation, Adam?
Why conceal the transcripts, even if the motion were not in order? You have the power to release them. You have the power to say
I'll tell
right
you why,
now
because
that
I'm not going to release one transcript of someone who knows nothing about Libya by his own admission, while people who risk their lives, you have no interest in their story getting out. You don't want the 18 DS agents. You don't want the CIA agents. The only transcripts you want released are Ms. Mills and Sidney Blumenthal.
Mr. Chairman,
so we'll take all of this up in November.
The only person you were interested in asking about during your entire questioning was Sidney Blumenthal. If you're so interested in him, release the transcript. You selectively released his emails. They're the only witness you've done that for. So you're asking why are we only asking for his transcript?
I'm going to ask the gentleman from California to please do a better job of characterizing. These are not Sidney Blumenthal's emails. These are Secretary Clinton's emails. And I'll tell you what, if you think you've heard about Sidney Blumenthal so far, wait till the next round.
Sure,
with that, we're adjourned.
Get this question. You are opposed to immigration of persons south of the border coming to the U.S.
No, that's absolutely not true. I
Well,
support legal immigration, not illegal immigration.
Well, let me ask you this question. You realize that we have been struggling with comprehensive immigration reform for many years in this country, and it is politics that keeps us from doing it, correct?
No, I think that
you don't think it's politics?
I think that it's enforcement of the law. You may be dealing it
well,
from a
I mean,
political
we're talking
issue.
about changing the law so that we can have comprehensive immigration reform, but you are opposed to us doing that, correct?
The process, and I'll
Are you
share
opposed to us considering comprehensive
in the order
immigration
that you're doing it, yes.
Okay,
That the
because you
border needs
prefer
to be
that there
secured
needs to be
first,
border-
and then you can address that issue after.
Okay. All right. And that's a Republican position, Republican Party position, and you're a Republican, and I understand that. Let me ask you this question. Do you need automatic weapons to help you with border control?
We have in Arizona, through the chair,
If you could say yes or no, and then you could explain.
semi-automatic weapons.
Do you need automatic weapons?
We don't have to have automatic weapons, no.
Do you need mine-resistant, ambush-protected vehicles to help you patrol the border?
Not for the border, but for our SWAT team, yes.
Thank you. Do you need silencers in order to help you patrol the border?
For our SWAT team, that's a tactical move, but it's not necessarily targeted.
Why does
for
your SWAT
smuggling.
team need mine-resistant, ambush-protected vehicles?
Because, sir, through the chair, our county doesn't have the money to buy a SWAT vehicle.
Why do you need it in order to enforce border security? Why do you need a mine-resistant, ambush-protected vehicle?
And this is where...
Thank you. And do you need...
No, sir. Sheriff, you may answer the question. You cannot ask a question and then not allow the witness to answer it.
Mr.
Sheriff,
Chairman, I
may
wanted a
answer.
yes or no answer. He answered the question, and I'm ready to move on.
Sheriff, have you
Now,
answered the
if someone-
question as completely as you would like to?
Mr. Chairman, I'm
The
ready
gentleman
to
is
move
not
on.
recognized. Sheriff, have you answered the question as completely as you
And
would
this
like
is
to?
where us in
Mr.
law
Chairman,
enforcement...
regular order, please. Regular order.
In law enforcement, we have
Point of
420,000 residents of my county, and we are the SWAT team.
Point of
All
information,
13
Mr.
law
Chairman.
enforcement agencies, and for high-risk warrants, barricade
Chairman.
situations, almost never have we used
Chairman.
an armored vehicle for anything to
Point
do
of order.
with illegal immigration, Mr. Chairman.
Point of order, Mr.
Thank you,
Chairman.
Sheriff. The gentleman is out of time. If you have another question, we'll
I have a point of order that I'd like to
state your
raise.
point of order.
Is it within the rules of this committee that the chairman can interrupt a legislator asking a question of a witness?
If that
take
legislator
that
is not
legislator's
allowing a
time?
witness to answer a question, you daggum right he can. Yes,
Well,
sir. The
I
gentleman
take-
is out of
I
time.
take exception to the chairman's
The chair will now
abuse
recognize
of
the gentleman
authority
from Iowa.